Hello, everyone. Welcome to the monthly Ketontrack webinar, the fourth one with the topic Keto and Testosterone. This is a very important lesson webinar, not only for men, but also for women. And during this webinar, you will learn why in this day and age, there is a decline into testosterone levels, why most people have low testosterone, what are the consequences, but also the benefits of testosterone, and how we can naturally, and with primarily as a tool nutrition, how we can increase testosterone, and with some simple biohacks. We'll also investigate the primary reason, which is insulin resistant, and how a ketogenic lifestyle can help with increasing our testosterone levels, why nutrition matters, and how you can get started in this journey. This training is for you if you want to feel your best again, which is related not only to testosterone, but also to following a ketogenic lifestyle, to have more energy and motivation, to understand the importance of insulin and insulin resistance, and learn why keto is the right diet to follow, and I consider the foundation for health. A few words about me. I'm a nutritional coach. I'm founder of Ketontrack, and within Ketontrack, we help people guide them through various programs to learn and experience about the keto diet, intermittent fasting, practice fitness, always with a science-based approach, because I'm really the type of guy who really wants to offer you, but also I want to offer advice which are really up to date. And hence I follow every day very closely the science around nutrition. And based on this science, we have formulated also online courses and group courses, which we will discuss at the end. So to the topic, testosterone. Why do we have in this day and age low testosterone? That's really important to understand that actually we, as a population, are seeing a decline year by year, and quite a steep decline of the total testosterone in men, but also in women. So one of the reasons, and the main reason, is the environment we live and the world we live into. I would actually highlight maybe a couple of reasons that we're all exposed to on a daily basis within our environment. And one of those is plastic bottles. Plastic bottles contain a lot of endocrine disruptors, which means that having a plastic bottle of water in a supermarket for an unknown period of time with light hitting it, all these microparticles of the plastic bottle actually go into the water, and we're drinking them. Someone who has a habit of drinking quite often water from plastic bottles is not doing himself any favors. In the same way, toothpastes with fluoride contain also endocrine disruptors, and this lowers our testosterone, but also it lowers melatonin, the production of melatonin, which is our sleep hormone, which is very important for proper testosterone production, since most of the testosterone is produced during our sleep. And last but not least is the overconsumption in our world from vegetable oils. So vegetable oils, we will see it later on as well, create oxidative stress, and all these pathways which they're involved block the production of testosterone. So we live in an environment which also has a lot of pollution, a lot of stress. So we really need to make our health our priority in order to fix and address this issue. So why do we need testosterone? And this is a prioritized list, and you see that increased libido is right at the end, and this is not by accident. We need testosterone for a million other reasons. First of all, testosterone is associated or is closely associated with our energy levels. When we have proper testosterone, we feel good about ourselves, we have a good mood, so it also helps fight depression. It helps reduce body fat since it increases the metabolism, and testosterone is involved in many metabolic activities. It helps to increase bone mass and the formation of bone. It reduces the risk of Alzheimer while actually improving also the brain function. So already here we're starting to formulate a picture of how important testosterone is. And something that's in my book really, really important is it supports healthy heart. So, and in various functions, I'm just listing actually here just a few based on the research, which I'll also post in the show notes. So we have through testosterone, the mechanism of the heart beating stronger. We have an increased supply to the heart, which lowers the risk for atherosclerosis and reduces the risk of blood clots. So really an important hormone for our health. While of course high levels of testosterone help us increase muscle mass easier and also have a better endurance during our training, since it helps with the transport of oxygen to our muscles. It helps with many metabolic activities, which have to do with the lipid and carb metabolism. And last but not least, it increases our libido. So all these are very important, and these are not only points that apply to men, but also to women, since also women have testosterone and use it in the similar way. So the ideal levels of testosterone, or actually it's a wide range, or between 348 and 1000 plus nanogram per deciliter. Just to say that here total testosterone, when it gets secreted in the bloodstream, gets bound by different proteins. So we actually differentiate total testosterone from free testosterone, which means that there is a percentage which is free in the blood, but most of it is actually bound for example, to SHBG, which is an important protein, which we'll also discuss. So experimentally, we can say that by following the protocols we will discuss later on, you can actually double your testosterone in a quarter of a year, so 3 to 4 months, from, let's say, low levels for around 400 to high levels of around 800 nanograms per deciliter. We should all know our levels of testosterone for all the reasons I mentioned before. So we should do regular, preferably blood tests to measure our total and free testosterone, but we can also do it through saliva tests, although they tend to be not so accurate. Okay, as we see here also, just to probably state the obvious in our graph, that as we age, our testosterone levels decrease. So we need to do our best to keep them as high as possible. So what can we do? really important. So huge list of things that we can potentially apply. We'll start from the top. The top 5 is areas we will cover in this webinar, but there are many more things, tips, hacks that I apply when working with people that want to increase their testosterone. So first of all, very hugely important is that we want to reduce our insulin resistance levels. These are by far the more potent reason of having low testosterone, which is very closely related to being overweight or having excess weight, which, as we'll see, is blocking our pathway for producing testosterone. Another reason or another way we can increase testosterone is by avoiding low-fat diets, avoiding high polyunsaturated fats, omega-6 fatty acids, vitamin deficiencies because of a not properly structured nutritional diet. Other reasons extend to sun, vitamin D, or low levels of vitamin D. We, of course, need to have sufficient calories. We want to sleep, relax properly, increase nitric oxide, which increases during our sleep if we're sleeping through or we're breathing through our nose. We want to exercise more, avoid alcohol, implement a keto diet if we're following a keto diet properly, so we don't have various proteins which bind to our too much to our testosterone and making less available free, and also cold therapies. So a huge list, but let's see some of these hacks, not only for our testosterone levels, but overall for our health. Okay, first of all, I mentioned insulin resistance. So let's start with insulin. So what is insulin? If you haven't heard, insulin is the main storage hormone in our body. So when we eat, especially something with carbs and protein, then insulin is secreted into our bloodstream, and it helps absorb, or it helps the cells absorb the carbs we eat. So it acts really as a key to allow energy, nutrients, sugar to get into our cells, either for usage directly or if we overeat to be stored as fat. However, when we're eating low quality foods, fast food, etc., takeaways, which tend to be lower quality, then we spike our blood sugars too high. Very often, we probably end up overeating, and then over time, insulin stops working as effectively as it should. It means that if you look at the top right diagram, when we're constantly making bad choices and we're spiking our blood sugars high, then there needs to be an equal amount of response from insulin, so high levels of insulin, to really bring down that blood sugar. This might lead also to hypoglycemia, etc., so to many metabolic issues, and eventually insulin resistance, high blood sugars, excess weight, visceral fat, everything that goes under the umbrella of metabolic syndrome. So insulin levels are critically important for health, and not many people know it, and unfortunately many doctors don't actually prescribe testing insulin as a metabolic marker, health metabolic marker. But what happens actually is that even if you have normal level of blood glucose, maybe your insulin is high, and that insulin is high because it's working overtime, as I usually say, to keep that blood sugar level low. So in that state, we're already insulin resistant, and that's one step away maybe a few months, maybe a few years, but one step away from tiring out the pancreas, which promotes or produces insulin, at a point where it cannot really produce too much insulin, at which point then the system breaks and we have both high insulin but also high glucose, and that's called diabetes. So insulin resistance, as I already mentioned, is high levels of insulin and a state whereby the body works overtime to keep the glucose stable. So that's really key. And in this process, many systems are actually impacted. And one of the key systems that are impacted is testosterone production. And here, most people, and that's through pretty huge studies, have some sort of insulin resistance. So 88% of the population has some level of insulin resistance, which means that most people actually have reduced, for this reason, testosterone production. And this also is associated with extra weight, because when we have extra fat stored on us, which is in this case scientifically mentioned as adipose tissue, then we have testosterone being converted to estrogen through a process called aromatase, a hormone. And so insulin resistance blocks through, as you can see, all the red lines, so through various processes, the production of testosterone at the level of the brain or at the level of the testes. So really something that first and foremost we need to fix. Another very important point, and most people are not aware of it, is that low-fat diets tend actually to reduce testosterone levels. So cholesterol, which is fat, basically, is the first prerequisite, the first step into the production of all steroid hormones. So all our sex hormones. So there are many hormones involved, but the first step is always cholesterol, and there is a need of eating a lot of or proper amounts of fat, let's say it like that, to ensure that this system is upregulated. So the key takeaway here is that fat is your friend. You should really eat eggs. Don't be afraid if your cholesterol is a bit elevated, and always relate that to numbers, so cholesterol levels, with your testosterone. If cholesterol is low, you will probably see also testosterone levels being low, especially as we age. So here we're starting to formulate a little pattern, if you can see, that we need fat in our diet, we need low levels of insulin in our bloodstream, and the best way to achieve that is actually through the oldest diet in the world, which is keto. So we have already discussed this, why this is the case in previous webinars, which you can check out in YouTube. But when we actually activate our fat metabolism, then we actually are stopping that dependency with sugar. So that happens typically when we reduce our carbs to around 5 or 10%, and we increase our fat intake. But this has as a result that we can actually use our own body fat for fuel, not only what we eat, but especially our own body fat, because we're training our body to use fat for fuel. And as a result, we don't have cravings, we don't have hunger. So it's a really an unbelievable diet, which will help you fix higher level of insulin or reach the ideal state of your insulin, and resolve many of the issues that actually come with insulin resistance. So it always comes with a package, and many issues that we really want to avoid. So if we reduce carbs, if we take our fat, then we are following basically a keto diet. We'll see how this is constructed in a bit. And we'll see also how we can get going with a diet that will help us also increase our testosterone levels. And just as a fun fact, if you didn't know already, kids are actually, when they're born and for the first few months of their life until their diet changes, they're actually following a ketogenic diet. So they're producing ketones and they're fueling themselves through their own fat. So fat is our friend, and we should not really be afraid of it. But let's continue. So nutrition matters, right? We already saw that fat matters, which is a macronutrient, but also micronutrients matter a lot. So micronutrients are those little workers which help things happen in our body. And if some of the workers are out for vacation, then just certain things don't take place, or they're done regulated, or they don't work so effectively. So we need, on a daily basis, proper levels of all our micronutrients. In this case, when it comes to the testosterone production, we depend on many, but these are the key ones. First of all, zinc. Zinc is an essential mineral for many processes, and for our metabolism, for our immune system. During COVID times, there was a huge sale bump of zinc supplements for exactly this reason, which I don't recommend, by the way, because it's there's a bit of more nuance to it that one needs to be aware of. But where do we get zinc from our diet? From beef, liver, eggs, all ketogenic healthy foods. Then we have boron, which is a trace mineral, which is essential for testosterone levels and also for keeping SHBG, so the sex hormone binding globulin, in check. And we need that, or we can get that from avocados, primarily nuts, but also some fruit, for example, plums, prunes, etc. We also need very healthy levels of vitamin D, which is, in my book, probably the most important vitamin. It's actually not a vitamin, it's a hormone, and it's involved in so many processes, and also in the production of cholesterol, and hence are all the steroid hormones. We primarily get it from sun, so we need to get out there and get some sun every day, but we can also supplement that. We also need vitamin K2, which is an essential vitamin for skin, for our bones, for our brain, and for protecting heart diseases. So it was actually called up until recently the unknown vitamin, because we weren't aware of it, and we are still discovering how important it is. And again, we can get it from eggs, cheese, butter, all ketogenic sources of foods. And last but not least, we need healthy levels of omega-3. So omega-3 fatty acids, or EPA, DHA, and ALA, which are actually the most potent anti-inflammatory factors in our body, help our brain development, our brain function, and again, reduce this hormone I mentioned already a couple of times, SHBG, and we can get omega-3 from fatty fish, salmon, sardines, etc., and also from red meat. So where do we get all our testosterone vitamins? Following a keto diet. How simple is that, right? And though we need to be careful. So we can implement a keto diet in the wrong way if we include low quality polyunsaturated fats. So I just want to make that distinction because polyunsaturated fats are actually healthy and required, but too much omega-6 fatty acids, which we primarily find in processed food and in vegetable oils, as I mentioned at the start, canola oil, sunflower oil, soybean oil, all these oils which are used at fast food for frying stuff. They're all oxidizing very fast, and they're one of the main contributors for lowering testosterone because of the oxidative stress that they cause. So we can see here also in the graph that we actually see testosterone levels when we're talking about polyunsaturated fat lowering up to 50% because of this diet choice. Whereas if we have more saturated fat in our diet, then we're actually seeing exactly the opposite result, which is an increase of almost 100% of our testosterone levels. So that's a really, really important point, a really important hack, if you may, which we need to follow. So how can we start? So first of all, I would like to say, and I'm really a strong believer of this, is that it's your choice. It's our choice. How we apply, how we create the best habits for our life that support our health. And here the question is, how do we all value the feeling of being our best? And so what is the value price we put on feeling our best? And once we prioritize our health and we start saying, okay, being my best is what I value first and foremost, then I would say, and when you have that answer in mind, that nutrition comes first. And then we also need to focus on our exercise. When it comes to testosterone levels, a lot of heavy lifting, sprinting, etc. Sleep, very important. We need 8 hours of good sleep. We need to do stress management, ensure our cortisol is in check. We can get good sleep, so lower our heart rate. And we also follow a lifestyle that is in check with our environment. So we want to follow cold and hot therapies as a hormesis mechanism to actually get ourselves to become more resilient. So being always in a stable environment does not actually help our body grow stronger. So we want to manage stress, but we also want to have some acute phases, short phases where we stress our environment, ourselves and our environment in order to become stronger. And that's some of the techniques we investigate with Ketontrack is hot and cold therapies. So it's our choice. And I would say start keto today. So don't delay it. Keto has unbelievable benefits. It's followed by millions of people in order to correct their insulin levels, to lose weight, to have more energy, because in a ketogenic lifestyle, you have a lot more energy because ketones and fat is a lot better or a superior fuel type for our everyday life. And as a result, we also give our the possibility to our body to reduce inflammation, which of course gives us again more energy, more focus for what we want to do and achieve in our lives. So in order to structure a keto diet properly, and how we do it in Ketontrack, is we always focus in whole foods, no processed or refined foods. We eat enough protein, really important. We construct our diet with enough veggies and salad, while of course in order to be in a ketogenic state, We want to keep our carbs from choices that are low in the glycemic index. And the intention is not only to get into ketosis and do a ketogenic lifestyle, but actually to get all our vitamins and minerals. We saw some of them and how important they are for our health. So we have many vitamins. And here I want to say that you'll see in the list, we have fatty acids, which are fats, amino acids, which are proteins, vitamins, minerals, but we don't have as essential micronutrients or carbs in the list. And that's because carbs are actually not essential. The body needs carbs, but it will actually create glucose even in the absence of carbs, because it has the processes to actually create carbs, glucose again, from fat or from protein. So here we have a list of absolutely mandatory molecules which we cannot actually get, or which our body cannot create, so we need to ingest it from our diet, from the food we eat. And keto will deliver everything we need in the best possible way, reduce our hunger, reduce our cravings, and make us feel a lot better. So how do we implement it? Very simple and in any way you want. Right, so these are pictures from people we work with, and they don't actually vary too much from what we already or used to associate with a healthy diet. So we have salads with fish. You can have chicken with broccoli in a big pan. We can have yogurt with some berries, avocado, or a steak with some veggies. It's pretty simple, super delicious, and very healthy. So how can you get back on track? First of all, we suggest that you get back on track with Ketontrack, so you can be supported and not alone in your journey. And you avoid mistakes that so many other people are doing. And maybe you get also disappointed and you stop in the middle of your journey. So support is a key factor for success, for actually reaching your goals faster and gaining the right knowledge. So we have a keto group course, which we're starting as soon as possible. And this is actually an intensive group course of 8 weeks, where we learn about keto, intermittent fasting, and how to lose kilos. This is a small group of maximum 10 people. We have weekly meetings, and the program is designed to be accessible for everyone, even with people without experience in nutrition or the ketogenic lifestyle. And most importantly, super fun. We share experiences, we have exercises, games, quizzes, and we support each other, and we learn from each other, but always with privacy and respect. So it's something I'm really glad and I really enjoy to have with everyone I work with, and it's a really great course, which I would suggest that you have a look into. We of course have online courses, which you can also have a look. I'll share this in the summary, and in this case you follow your own pace. If of course you have issues that you want to address, or specific issues that are troubling you, and you want to have a tailor-made program for you, then you should actually check out our personal coaching, which is set up in a way that is at your own pace, and it helps you achieve the goals that you have set and helps you resolve all the issues that you specifically have. And testosterone could be one of them, of course. A couple more points I wanted to mention. We have for those who want to experience face-to-face the ketogenic lifestyle with me and with my partner, Grey Cows. Then we have set up a retreat, which we call Space and Tranquility, a 4-day retreat in September in Naxos, where we're having fun, super fun actually, with keto fasting. We cook together healthy, delicious, organic, local recipes. We practice cardio, strength training at our calisthenics gym as well, in a unbelievable location with a villa that offers everything that we really need to have an unbelievable time. And we spend 4 days together really experiencing keto and fasting. It's a great occasion, and you should actually have a look. And I'm here to clarify if there are any questions. And last but not least, for those who are really into health or they want to optimize their health, I would suggest that you join me this month in London. So Ketontrack will be participating and exhibiting in the biggest health summit in Europe. And I'm super excited about it. And I'm even more excited because we are giving to everyone the opportunity to win 1 free ticket as a giveaway. So we have just started the giveaway on Instagram, so you can actually check our account and sign up, and hopefully then I'll see you there. It's a really great event, and you should really make an effort not to miss it. So that's it all for this webinar. Thank you very much. And if there are any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them for you. Stay strong and stay healthy. Have a great day, and we'll talk again in the next webinar next month.